There is no EVA foam traction pad in existence that can match the power and control you get from riding an interchangeable RIKT kicktail. And this is easy to see by just comparing the geometry and materials of our kicktails compared to a typical foam traction pad. Chris Ward was sold on these kicks after his first wave. Let's find out why. Traditional traction pads are designed to surf with your foot flat on the pad. You can safely angle your leg forward around 30 to 35 degrees without inducing inversion strain on your ankle if you're not pushing down. But when your leg angles inward during a turn, if your foot is sitting flat on the deck of your surfboard and you're pushing against your tail, this creates a sideways shear force directly against your ankle. In the diagram above, you can see that when your back leg is at a 57-degree angle to the surfboard deck, which is a really common angle for surfing, if you push down with 100 pounds of force, 54 pounds of shear force is going to hit your ankle. This would be like trying to squat 100 pounds with both ankles bent inward at 57 degrees. Anyone would say that's crazy. You're going to crack your ankles. But that's what you do when you surf flat-footed. And that's too much force, too much shear force for an ankle to withstand, so one or three things is going to happen. You either strain your ankle, slip off your board, or back off the push. Nobody wants to slip off their board or strain their ankle, so you adapt by limiting the push against your tail. But when you step onto the ramp of a RIKT, everything changes. First of all, the ramp is angled at 33 degrees, which puts your leg angled at 57 degrees from the surfboard deck flat on the ramp. This is a huge mechanical advantage over surfing flat-footed. Your leg, ankle, and foot are stacked in a straight line perpendicular to the platform for your foot created by the kick. You can push down as hard as you want with no shear force against your ankle. That's why when you're surfing with a RIKT, you immediately experience an increase in power in your surfing. The next reason why you surf with more power using a RIKT has to do with material. Foam absorbs energy. RIKT kicktails transfer energy. Traditional traction pads are made of EVA foam, which compresses under your foot. They act like a big shock absorber. They soak up force before it reaches your board. Since RIKT kicktails have a rigid core, instead of absorbing energy, they transfer it instantly, directly into your board. 100% of the force you push into a RIKT goes straight into your board. This is something you can feel often on your first wave. So when you combine kicktail geometry that allows you to safely push with maximum force to a rigid core that transfers all of that force to your tail, you're not just getting more grip, you're unleashing the most power that can physically be transmitted to a surfboard. This is why Chris Ward said, "It's taken my surfing to a level I didn't know existed." You can't access this level unless you're on a rigid core ramped kicktail, and that's why RIKT makes it all possible.